Guys, it's Chickens here, back with another Brawl Stars video. In today's video, guys, I'm going to be ranking every single star power so you guys know. I wanted to do this because I thought it would be important for you guys to know, or it would be helpful for when star powers come in the shop. They're pretty expensive with gems, and they're hard to just get from opening boxes randomly throughout your, as you progress through the game. So I thought it'd be helpful to kind of go through those star powers and rank them so people know which ones are worth having and are not worth having. So obviously, a star power is once you get a brawler to power 10. Well, that's how you get your brawler to power 10 is you unlock the star power once you get them to power 9. And you can't unlock the star power until your brawler is upgraded all the way, basically. So at that point, you have to unlock it, and it's pretty rare to do. So most people end up buying them from the shop with gems. So again, I thought it would be important to kind of go over which ones are actually worth going after. So I'm going to start at the bottom and go through the top. It's not going to be a super long video, so, you know, it's going to be easy to keep up with. So let's just start here right off at the bottom, guys. Now, my bottom 3 star powers are going to be, the worst in the game, in my opinion, is Penny's. So Penny's star power is, she has a mortar, right? That's her super. She, when the mortar expires, it throws out bombs, and it's just completely random. Doesn't usually hit anybody. It's not that good. So you can hold off on the Penny one. You don't need to go out of your way to buy that. And next up is going to be Daryl, in terms of the second worst in the game. So Daryl's super reinforces barrel, reducing all damage he takes by 30% for 3.5 seconds. So this would be okay in the old Daryl when his super would, you know, he'd bounce all around. But for 3.5 seconds, it's not, you know, it's not really that noticeable. It doesn't make a huge impact. You know, like, it's not going to save you. 30% isn't going to save you from getting, you know, clipped by Bull or Shelly or somebody, or Leon, you know, right up close. It's not going to make a huge impact. Sure, it'll be helpful, but not worth gemming, in my opinion. So next up is Crow. Crow is arguably the worst star power in the game, guys. So Crow's poison saps the strength of enemies who deal 10% less damage while poisoned. So the whole, you know, it kind of fits into how you play Crow. Is like he just pokes and retreats, and then he ends up winning over time. He's not a super aggressive brawler. You have to play him smart. So it does fit into his play style, but at the same time, you know, people doing... You know, Crow's not going up. He's not going up right against a Primo. So enemies doing 10% less damage doesn't really make a difference. He's also pretty squishy to begin with at 3,300 health, 33,600 health. So I mean, it's not gonna. You know, I've never noticed it. So I wouldn't say it's worth jamming. Next up. Now, this one's going to be controversial because this is actually one of the worst and one of the best star powers in the game with Dynamite over here. So Dynamite has the ability to jump over walls with each one of his shots, and this is, you know, I have this so low on my tier list because for the casual player, it's very hard to pull this off. It's like a very high skill cap type of star power. When you can see someone who's mastered this, it's unbelievable. Like, they can, like, especially in Heist on that one map, I forget what the name of it is, but to watch the Dynamite bounce up and over the walls as he's shooting can almost turn him, like, it's almost makes him invincible. Like, he's so hard to play against when you have someone that has really mastered his star power. The problem with it is, it's very hard to master. So that's why I have it lower on my tier list, because you're not just going to be able to gem it and then you take advantage of it like you would with, you know, 90% of the other supers here that we're going to talk about. So for that reason, I have Dynamite a little bit lower. Next up, I have Brock. Now, Brock's star power is every shot that he shoots sets the ground on fire. There's a couple star powers that basically do this, and enemies in the area take 240 damage per second. Now, I have this ranked pretty low, but it's still good. It's you know, I wouldn't say, we're getting to the point now where it's kind of up to you. If you're like a Brock main, absolutely like go for the star power if you see it in the shop and gem this one, because it is helpful. It is helpful because how many times when you're playing, you know, Brock or Piper, you get somebody down and it's like, you know, like 250, 300, just a few hundred ticks of health left. So it can really come in handy sometimes. Other times, not so much. It's not one of those things that's going to help you every single time. It's not like the star powers that make the brawlers faster, that kind of buff everything about them at all times. But it is, it's good. It's good, I would say that. So that's Brock. Next, let's move on to Poco. Still kind of at the bottom of the list here. But again, this one is good or very good. When Poco's attack hits friendly brawlers, they now heal for 400 health. So this is very helpful, obviously, in the 3v3 modes. You know, it can be helpful in Brawl Ball when you're just trying to keep the Mortis alive as he's dribbling and everyone is, you know, kind of closing in on him. There's specific instances where the Decapo star power comes in very, very helpful. So, you know, it's not always helpful. Like in Showdown, it doesn't do anything, obviously, because you're playing by yourself. So that's why I have it ranked a little bit lower, but it is good or very good star power. Some of these are kind of hard to rank because it's like, you know, it's very hard to decisively say one thing is better than the other. It's all kind of, you know, objective. So next up, we have Mr. Primo, and he's got another fire star power. So enemies caught in El Primo Super will burn for 600 damage over 4 seconds. Now, the big thing here isn't the damage. It's the fact that it prevents the other brawler from healing. So when Primo does his super and he jumps on somebody, basically what happens is you get 1 or 2 shots on them. They're almost dead. If they're on fire, they're burning more, and they're unable to run away and heal for that much longer. So you're able to either catch up with them, or playing Primo in Showdown, which, you know, he's one of the better brawlers in. Someone else can go in and pick him off if you were able to get him down to pretty low health, getting the super off and getting a couple shots off while they're burning and running away. Say they get in a good spot behind a wall or something, then it's just going to make it that much harder for them to escape that. So, yeah, still towards the bottom, but getting closer to the middle now. So next up we got Nita. And another controversial one. A lot of people have Nita's star power ranked a little bit close to the bottom of the list, but I think it can be very good, especially for you know, maybe not in like the high level meta game, but more so for the casual players. I think Nita's star power is really good because you don't have to do anything extra. You don't have to learn it. You just, you know, you get it and it's a buff and it's nice to have. So if you see it in the shop, I do think it is worth gemming. So Nita recovers 300 health whenever her bear hits an enemy. When Nita deals damage, her bear regains 300 health. So she just gets a health buff, and so does her bear. Makes her that much harder to take down, makes the bear that much more of a pain to deal with, and can really get some work done there with Nita. Next up, we have Tara, and I think Kairos actually had Tara ranked at the very bottom, or Coach Corey did, or somebody. I don't think it's that bad. I actually think her star power is pretty useful. So Tara's super cracks open a dimensional portal. A shadowy version of Tara appears and attacks her enemies. So Shadow Tara pops up. She has 2,000 health, and she gets and she starts attacking the other brawlers. So this is helpful because, you know, I always find when I'm playing Tara and I get a super off, you know, it always seems to, unless I'm right there and I've got 3 shots loaded, which is, you know, not every single time. I find this very useful in gem grab because, you know, sometimes you just need to get those last couple shots off, and usually the Shadow Tara, unless there's like a bull or someone right on top of her, usually she can get 1 or 2 swipes off really quickly, and sometimes that's enough to take out the opposing brawler and get the reset on the gems, or something like that. So I do find it very useful. I think it's very good, and I do believe it is worth gemming if you get it in the shop, guys. So next up we got Bull. So Bull's is an interesting one. When Bull falls below 40% health, his reload speed doubles. Now, I have this ranked, you know, kind of right in the middle, maybe upper middle-ish. Just because the way that you use Bull is you get close to somebody and then you just auto-aim, right? That's how everyone uses them. You're not, you know, people typically aren't manually aiming when they use Bull. So to get that faster reload speed, click, 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 it does help a lot, and it does... You know, it doesn't change how you play him at all, but it makes him that much deadlier in Showdown. It makes him that much more of a threat when you get up close to him, and, you know, it's just a one-on-one kind of spam fest. It makes Bull just that much scarier. So, next up, we have Frank. Now, I've seen some people say that Frank's... So, we'll tell you what it is first. So, Frank can see and steal the power of a defeated enemy brawler, increasing his damage by 30% for 10 seconds. So, it makes him a little bit stronger. And I do see some people say that, you know, it doesn't really change much because Frank's already very strong to begin with, and he basically either 2 shots or 3 shots every brawler as is, and the extra power, the extra 30% doesn't really help with this. But what it does help with is, you know, it makes him better. You know, I find, in my opinion, it makes him a little bit, it makes him more of a threat when you do have the star power, and it's just easier to kind of chase people off. Like, most people, when they see Frank, they typically don't go up one-on-one against him anyways. So when you see him with the star power, it's kind of, you know, it makes him look... It just makes people want to fight you less, I guess, and they kind of run away, and it ends up working better in Frank's favor because people aren't thinking, you know, people aren't thinking when they see Frank with his star power, oh, he's only doing 30% more damage. They just say, oh, no, it's a supercharged Frank, you know what I mean? So, yeah, so I would rank Frank somewhere in the upper middle, or closer to the middle, maybe. So, next up we got Barley, and Barley's super allows him to heal 200 health from each main attack. And this is pretty scary with Barley because it just allows him to keep shooting and not having to heal. And, you know, that's the hardest thing with Barley is to just, like, basically most brawlers are just trying to mow him down, right? Because he's very squishy, same health as Crow. He's very easy to fight once you get up close to him. The problem is getting close to him, and with his star power, it allows him to just keep shooting and actually heal up, so he doesn't have to worry about, he doesn't have to stop, basically. Like, he can just keep throwing out his bottles of gin or whatever, and he, you know, he can, it just makes it that much harder to get in on him. So that's why I have him ranked pretty high. So next up I have Piper. So Piper's star power is Piper's attack deals plus 400 extra damage at max range when she's hidden in a bush, and the closer you get, obviously, the less damage it does. But this makes Piper an absolute monster in bounty. Doesn't really help out for anything else. You know, some gem grab stages, sure, you're going to get a little bit more value out of it, but Piper's already so dominant in bounty. And this star power just helps her that much more. I feel like it was worth ranking at sort of, you know, getting to the upper portion of the list here. Next up, I have Ricochet. So Ricochet's bullets from attack and super alike get supercharged by their first bounce and deal plus 80 damage. So this can actually make Ricochet a monster in any of the game modes. You know, it's just a damage buff, basically, from his attack and his super. So their first bounce, so it just makes the way you play him. It's holy invites. It just, you know, it doesn't change how you play him. It just makes him a little bit stronger. It just makes him a little bit stronger and a little bit scarier to deal with. So next up I have Spike next. So Spike's star power, after using a super, Spike regenerates 500 health per second by staying in its area of effect. Now this is huge because it actually changes how you play Spike a little bit. So you can use his super offensively or defensively once you unlock his star power, which is pretty crazy. That's happened to me lots of times, lot more times than I'd like to admit, in Showdown where I'm going up against the Spike. He's got his super. He gets his 3 shots off. I think, okay, boom, he's dead to rights. I got him. I'm going to close in on him. Throws that super on the ground. I can't get him off in time. I go to reload, and then boom, I'm eating a Spike shield to the face, and he's able to come away with the victory. So it changes how you use Spike. It's one of the best star powers in the game. And, yeah, that's why I have it ranked higher up on the list. Next up is Pam. So whenever Pam hits enemies, so her star power is whenever Pam hits enemies with Scrap Storm, her main attack, she heals herself and nearby friendly brawlers for 30 health. So this is huge because it's very easy to hit people with Pam's Scrap Storm shot. It's just a big blast radius that kind of goes everywhere. So it's easy to just kind of poke and poke. That's how you play Pam, right? You poke, you retreat, you poke, you retreat. And not only does it heal up her and allow her to be more aggressive, it heals up the teammates too. So it's pretty huge. We're seeing a lot of Pam in the meta as well in higher level gameplay. So I would rank her close to the top on this list in terms of Mama's Hug, her star power. All right, so next up, I have Mortis. And this star power, one of the best in the game. Mortis can see and reap the life essence of defeated enemy brawlers. Collecting an essence restores 1,000 of his health. So he gets 1/5 of his health back for every brawler that he kills, basically, if he's able to run over it. And if you're playing a game like Gem Grab or, you know, Brawl Ball, which he's mostly in, it just makes him that much harder to deal with. It allows him to be even more aggressive. It's not going to help him out tremendously in things like game modes he's not the greatest at, like Showdown. You know, you can kind of use Mortis anywhere, but he's definitely better at some game modes than the others. I've actually been hearing lately a lot of people aren't actually using him in Brawl Ball at higher levels because Leon is such a hard counter to him. So yeah, so I would rank Mortis' star power close to the top. It's an insane amount of health regen that he gets. Definitely worth gemming if you're a fan of Mortis and you like to use him. So next up, probably controversial, I got Leon. Leon's Smoke Trails. So his star power, when Leon uses a super, he gains a boost of movement speed for the duration of his invisibility. Now, this is one of, if not the best in the game. A lot of people are going to say that this is the best star power in the game. I find, you know, Leon's super is so devastating already. The star power just makes, you know, it's already excellent, and it makes it a little bit better. It's like, it's like adding a rage spell on top of a push in Clash Royale where you already have 5 minions on the tower. It's like, sure, it's very good, but you don't really need it. It doesn't really change anything about how you play them. But I mean, it's absolutely OP. It basically means that you get his super and you get a free kill on whoever you decide to be your victim. Next up, I have Bo, close to the top of the list. So Bo's star power, Bo spots enemies hidden in bushes from an uncanny distance, shared with teammates. That's the biggest thing. So it allows your team to basically see through all the bushes. Maps like Snake Prairie and Bounty, you know, the other ones in Gem Grab are huge. The other team can't hide. You're able to see them from all angles, and it's just it's just game changing. And it changes how you use Bo. It changes how your whole team is playing, and it just you know, you can see where the other team is hiding, and it just makes it that much easier to go ahead and hunt them down. So I got Bo very close to the top of the list. So next up, I have Jessie, and Jessie's star power is her ability to repair her gun turret for 800 of its missing health by zapping it with her attack. So she can literally just camp and then just shoot at her turret and just heal it up the whole time. Now we see this a lot in boss fight. Jessie is by far the best to use in boss fights simply because of this, that she can just kind of camp in the corners, and her turret has like over 10,000 health when she's the boss. And she can just sit there and heal it up and heal it up and heal it up. You know, game modes like Gem Grab, any 3v3 game mode, when she gets her turret and she's able to keep it up, it can really kind of control the middle, and, you know, it's very hard to deal with. So, Jessie, star power, one of, if not the best in the game. Now, next up, I have Colt. So Colt's star power is, you know, it's the best buff that you could get for a brawler. Colt's movement speed is increased by a pair of slick new boots. And this is a buff to everything. It's a buff to his shooting. It's a buff to his damage. It's a buff to his evasiveness. It's a buff to his it's a buff to everything. So it makes Colt that much harder to deal with. You know, it makes him, he's got long range. He does a ton of damage. Colt is very, very strong right now, and he has, in my opinion, the second best super in the game. Guys, the best star power, sorry, not super star power, but guys, the best star power in the game, in my opinion, is going to be also, very controversial, the best brawler in the game, in the chicken's opinion, and that is going to be Shelly. So Shelly's super shells slow down enemies for 2.5 seconds when you get her star power unlocked. So it makes her super arguably one of, if not the best supers in the game already, maybe second to Leon. It makes that so much scarier and harder to deal with. Now, I've gone against Shelly's, or I've played as Shelly with 2 star powers. If I have her super, I can go toe-to-toe with a bull with 10 star powers. I don't know what his level is. Doesn't matter. 10 power cubes, excuse me, not star powers. And she can go toe-to-toe with anyone, basically, when she has her super. It's that strong. And the fact that it slows them down just gives her that extra time to get a couple shots off. And if she gets her super off and gets, I believe, 2 more shots off, she gets the super again, and it's just unbelievable. So, and you know, you can use Shelly in basically all game modes. There's nothing she's really bad at. And for that reason, I feel like her super, or her star power and her super, for that matter, are the best in the game right now as we do this. So that is the chicken's official star power tier list ranking, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to leave a like on the video if you want to see more tier lists, or if you enjoyed this one. I'm going to have a ranking down below in the description if you want to take a look at that next time you get an offer in the shop and you want to see if something's actually worth getting or not. But guys, that is all for today. So yeah, that's all we got, guys. Thanks so much for watching. As always, make sure to leave a like if you found it interesting, entertaining, or informative. And I'll see you next one, guys. Chicken out.